You're listening to Beyond the Mundane with Elsie and Randi and Randi St. Clair. To call the ladies right now in the GTA, call 905-725-1907. In North America, it's 1-866-905-7325, and worldwide at 1-866-656-5477. Or email us at realityradio101@yahoo.com. Now, your hosts, Elsie Lynn Leyland and Randi St. Clair.
Good evening, folks. I'm Elsie Lynn Leyland.
And I'm Randi St. Clair.
And we are Beyond the Mundane.
We're the Chakra Jockies, coming to you here from Toronto. Man, there's been a lot happening in Toronto lately, hasn't there? Toronto's been on the map. But I don't think we'll go there tonight. I think there's enough out there already about that.
I don't want to ride that honky-tonk parade.
So what are you going to bring us from the weird and wacky today,
The weird and wacky. Well,
yeah.
I was surfing YouTube, as I sometimes do, as I'm led to by odd things when I'm looking at animals. Not doing weird things.
Right.
Just cute cat things,
okay.
you know. Like the typical nerd I am. And I found this video about a woman that had a 46-year pregnancy.
What?
Yep. Zahra Abu Taleb was 75 years old, living in Morocco in a small village. And she started to have serious abdominal pain, and she was having a really hard time standing up straight. She had a lot of pain down in her leg, and she couldn't eat anymore. She was having so much trouble. So her grandson took her to the hospital in a local city, and when they ultrasound her, they realized there was something in her gut. But when they did the further explorations of this situation, they realized this thing was rock hard. And it turned out to be a stone baby.
Stone baby? Are you for real?
Yep, it was a full-term stone baby. And the story is that she went into labor, and she walked to the city to have the baby because she was bleeding a lot and couldn't deliver for some reason.
Yeah.
And the doctor told her she'd have to have surgery, and she could hear women screaming, having surgery and stuff, and she was so petrified she left the hospital. And after a couple of days, the pain stopped. And she just carried on with her life, but she never had the baby. What it turns out was this baby was one of these babies that was an ectopic pregnancy that broke through the tube.
Mm-hmm.
And actually developed on the outside of the uterus, actually the placenta attached to the outside of the uterus, and it grew full term because it was like an 8-pound baby. Because it couldn't be delivered natural ways, because it was on the outside of the womb and had no way to come out, it died. Normally a stone baby doesn't go full term. Normally their blood supply gets cut off and they die in the abdominal cavity at some point during the pregnancy, and it has to be removed.
So where is this stone baby now?
It's in some research facility now, being cut open and looked at because it's calcified on the outside. Apparently the female body calcifies anything that's foreign, and in the inside it's soft like a baby.
So is this a fairly common thing, or is it rare?
It's fairly rare, but there is one really rare baby that was conceived outside of the womb with the same situation where the baby broke through the tube and everything, and it was a little boy born in Great Britain to a woman, and it was the very first successful pregnancy to a woman full term with a baby inside, and they deliver it by C-section, but it was very specific. That pregnancy was known as a twin pregnancy. And then she started having really serious problems with hemorrhaging and stuff. And it was only after the first trimester that they realized there was a third baby. That third baby had broken through and attached to the uterus. And she had a full-term pregnancy, had a C-section, and had the little boy with his 2 little sisters, all safe and healthy.
Wow.
And it's the only baby in the world ever been delivered successfully from a pregnancy that adhered on the outside of the womb.
So that's a bit odd altogether.
Yeah, and the mom in that situation was named Jane Ingram. And I'll post that video on our Facebook page because it's kind of
a video of stone babies. I don't think so.
It's a documentary. It's a documentary.
Like, who would want to watch that or look at it?
Our people.
Yeah, all right.
Our people.
Okay,
they want to
it'd be
know
really
about
weird.
this stuff.
Okay.
The last thing they want to do is read one more thing about Rob Ford.
Yeah, okay.
Holy monkey.
So if you really want to watch this video about stone babies and all that stuff, go on our website and see that. Now, did you know that casual sex leaves many women unsatisfied? Did you know that?
How would I know that?
Well, I'm going to tell you why. A recent article, and well, I won't go there with asking you that, but in a recent
I worked
article,
really hard for it. Nothing casual about it.
A recent article in the Globe and Mail says that, like many generations before them, many young women find that casual sex does not bring the physical pleasure that men more often experience. Women are less likely to have orgasms from casual sex than men are. But women are hooking up like never before. So there's a parity there that they're starting to explore all these new horizons and with having all kinds of casual sex supposedly, but they don't always get satisfied. What do you think about that?
I guess it depends what age group they're polling.
Polling, what a word for that. Go on.
Honestly, from my point of view in this, if you're polling the 21 and under, I could see that, yes, that might be the answer. But 40 and above, I'm sorry, there isn't one woman 40 and above that ain't having sex just for the orgasm. And they're not going to have sex unless they have an orgasm. It's not worth their time.
But for all these young gals that have careers and they're putting off getting married and having children, they still want to have sex now and again, right?
I guess so.
So the study shows that when they want to have sex, they just find somebody, and it's like sort of like, working out at the gym or something like that. And it doesn't really matter if they have an orgasm.
I don't know about that. I think orgasm always matters. But also the casual part, I'm not a prude or anything, but here's what my philosophy about sex is: anytime you choose a sexual partner, doesn't matter whether it's casual or not, you're always choosing to give a little tiny piece of yourself away. And how many pieces of that are you going to allow yourself to give away from your emotional self?
That's deep.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm very
that's
analytical.
really deep coming from you. My God.
I'm really analytical when it comes to sex.
Well, the study has shown that women, they want that freedom to be able to just hook up when they want to. And in exchange for that, well, the trade-off is that they don't always have an orgasm. Because they find that when they're in a committed relationship, then they've built up that trust, and they can start telling the guy what they would like.
Oh, I don't know. I'm bossy enough. I tell any guy what I'd like. I'm sorry. If I'm not having 2 orgasms before we start and 1 during, I'm not having it at all. I'm not going for it at all. I'll walk away halfway through.
Yeah, but we all know that you're the exception. You're
exception?
really not normal anyways, so.
What, I'm not the super multi-orgasmic person. That's just my rule.
What is a multi-orgasmic person? How many orgasms is it in one go, so to speak.
Wow, the ultimate?
Yeah, what's the ultimate?
Oh, man, till I can't stand up anymore.
So you know this from many years of research then, or what?
I've been married for 30 years,
Yeah,
my goodness
that'll
me.
do it. Yeah. Still, it's an interesting study that shows that you can have it all, but at the same time that you have it all, sometimes you're not going to get it all. Would you agree?
Well, if you're going to go chasing nothing with substance, yeah, you're not going to get it all.
The interesting thing was all the comments from men on this that they posted on this study, and a lot of the comments from men were really negative. It's like the old double standard again. They're like, well, if these women are going out and having these hookups, it's their own fault that they're not having orgasms. Like, and they were sort of naming them sort of, you know, that they were loose women or something like that because they were having all this casual sex.
Well, let's face it, the guys that participated in the study had the time to fill out the papers. The ones that are out there playing the field and mounting everything in sight don't have time to look at the study and participate. They're too busy.
Yeah, having multiple orgasms, right.
So the guys that are offended are the guys that are sort of the keeper guys, the guys that you would be trying to bring home to mom. They're the ones that have the time to read the study, so they will be offended.
Okay, I think we'll just drop it right there, and I think it's now time for a commercial and our song. Wonderful conversation.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven.
This half of the show is brought to you by Freya Metaphysical Enterprises, the new permanent psychic booth at the Curtis Flea Market. There are several different and unique psychics every day to choose from. Readings are $20 for 15 minutes, and for all of November, $2 from every reading will go to the Oasis Animal Rescue, a no-kill, no-cage facility for animals in Oshawa. Freya is offering a drop-in guided meditation Saturday mornings, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. for just $5, as well as a new workshop every Saturday, 10:30 to 12:30. Go to our website, freyametaphysical.com, to see and sign up for workshops. Come on down to Freya Metaphysical, located at the Curtis Flea Market, 1696 Bloor Street in Curtis, Ontario, in Building 1, Units 106 and 107, just inside the doors. Open Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. till 4:30 p.m.
Sitting on a riverboat, having a party, me and my Cajun queen. She's turning 21 on the Mississippi River, heading out of New Orleans. The year is 1894. Oh, come on, mama, and love me some more. Her dark eyes flash like a gambler's rings. She shakes her pretty head and sings. Life for me is a riverboat fantasy, watching the sun go down. A rock and roll band with a reefer in my hand. Now look at that wheel go around. Cocaine kisses and moonshine misses, that's the life for me. I'm sailing away from my heartache on a riverboat fantasy. Can't think, can't drink any more whiskey. I could have drunk a river dry. This old boat, she's just sitting in the moonlight, catching the gleam in her eye. Showers of rain come pouring down. The sky full of stars like a French lace gown. Shimmer, glimmer, I think I'm gonna fall. What? Catch me, mama, that's all. Life for me is a riverboat fantasy, watching the sun go down. A rock and roll band with a reefer in my hand. Now look at that wheel go around. Cocaine kisses and moonshine misses, that's the life for me. I'm sailing away from my heartache on a riverboat fantasy.
welcome back to Beyond the Mundane with your hosts Elsie Lynn Leyland and Randy St. Clair. You can contact us by telephone in the GTA at 905-725-1907, in North America at 1-866-905-7325, and worldwide at 1-866-656-5477, or by email at realityradio101@yahoo.com.
Life for me is a riverboat fantasy, watching the sun go down. A rock and roll band with a reaper in my hand.
And now, your hosts, Elsie Lynn Leyland and Randy St. Clair.
Well, we're back. Thank you for sticking with us. We have a really interesting night tonight. We have Reverend Terrie Brookins, first degree priestess of the sacred song Watan Shrine of the High Karelian nativist tradition, with us tonight.
Karelian nativist tradition, yes.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, are you a witch?
Sure. That's the accepted term for what I do for most of the normal people, so we'll take witch.
Because there was this long, long description of what you do. So will you own that you're a witch? And when I was looking at your website, there was a lot of kind of witchy things listed there.
I will own that I was a witch to begin with. I am a witch underneath everything else. And I have a shiny new name badge, which now makes me a priestess.
Cool, cool.
I am very interested in the history of the Karelian nativist tradition. Could you please explain it to us?
I can explain the beginnings. We got our start with Lady Orpheus, Caroline High Carell. She was of Irish, Scottish, and Cherokee descent. She had her roots in spiritualism, the things that her Scottish ancestry taught her, and Irish ancestry taught her, which is what we would call today Druidism.
Mm-hmm.
And from her Cherokee side, she learned from the medicine men and women of those tribes there. And at some point in time, she had to find a way to make it all work. And that's where the Karelian nativist tradition came from.
So it's a multifunctional paganist tradition then?
Multifaceted.
Multifaceted.
Yes, we believe that a deity is a diamond. It's the same thing. We're all just looking at it from different perspectives.
Oh, that's good. That sounds good. So I'm really interested. You and I had a little quick discussion, and I know that you sent out a blast to everybody within your tradition that you were going to be on tonight.
I did.
So what I'd like to do is I just want to give it a little shout out to everybody from the Karelian nativist tradition who's listening tonight. And I'm going to list off a bunch. Illinois, Pennsylvania, Indiana, England, Africa, Washington State, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Mexico, and New Mexico, just to skim off the top. And I really appreciate you guys all stepping in to listen. And I'm really proud to have you here, Terrie, because when I met you, I thought, this woman is a hoot. Not only are you a hoot, but you are so true and honest to your craft and what you believe in, and you do it great justice.
Now maybe you better explain what a hoot means.
A hoot is just, she's a good talker. She's lots of fun to listen to, and she has lots of stories.
And mostly I don't take myself all that seriously.
I noticed on your website there was this big thing all about rituals.
Yes.
And you could see this person looked like they were in this cloak, and then their bare feet, it looked like. So do people walk around in these cloaks and do these rituals? Is that part of your tradition or your faith or whatever you call it?
If they choose to. There are some who believe that taking your shoes off or going barefoot connects them more to the earth. And there are some who believe that socks and shoes and tennis and boots are just fine. Thank you very much. So,
are they naked under these cloaks?
If they choose to. Once again, personally, I'm from New Orleans. I'm cold 8 months out of the year, so I have clothes on.
If they are naked under the cloak, does that give them a connection to the earth?
That's up to them and their connection with deity. I cannot comment on that, unfortunately.
So it's not mandatory that you're naked under this cloak to be involved in the rituals then?
Not really. Not in anything that I've come across.
Sounds like you're asking a Highlander if he's got anything under
Yeah,
his
yeah.
kilts.
Because all I saw was just from the feet and just a little
Pay
bit
no
up.
attention to the leaf blower.
Can you tell me about maybe one or two rituals that you might do, and what kind of materials you need, and how many people, or where it would happen? Just take me back and tell me about a couple of rituals you might do and why you do them.
Well, you can start with the high days of the year. There are 8 major holidays of the year, and on these major holidays, like we've just had what we call Samhain, that's just passed. At Samhain, we believe that there is a veil between this world and the next, and at Samhain, that veil thins. And those who have gone before, those who have died, our ancestors can look back through. And we choose that time to reach to send off our own energy through the veil to them, to let them know that we remember them and to honor what they've done for us. All their sacrifices, all their stories, and all the things that they've given for us. And for that sort of ritual, we would choose to be outside if we could, mostly because it's sometimes free, and that's always nice. And when we're outside, we would gather in a circle, hold hands, and for materials, in reality, we don't really need anything but our minds and our will. The things actually do help. So we would have someone to cast a circle with a wand or a sword, basically saying this is our space, and in this space we're going to do this act. We'd have someone call in the elements, which is basically recreating the cosmos in this little space, so that we have an act of creation that we all have a part of. And now that we've have the cosmos, our own little bubble, it is there that we work what we like to call magic, moving energy around.
Magic?
Yes.
Is that like a magician magic, or what is that?
Not sleight of hand, but manipulation of energy within ourselves and within our surroundings.
Freaky.
I don't bend spoons. Sorry, I don't have a license for that, but there are times that things happen. So in this bubble, we would have maybe anywhere from 10 to 15 people. I've had rituals that have had 20, rituals that have maybe 2, and many I've done by myself.
So we have our 8 high holidays to do work on.
Mm-hmm.
And what other times would you do a ritual?
Well, there are times where there are things like new moon and full moon.
Is that where people get naked and then they go in the water?
Not for me,
I heard
thanks.
about that.
Randy, you're obsessed with nakedness.
Well, I heard that they do a lot of this.
There are some that do.
Yeah.
I am not part of those groups.
Oh, okay.
But unfortunately, the polar bears who take the dip every year in the icy snow, they get a lot more play than we do.
Okay.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
So new moons and full moons, where we're basically at the full moon, we believe that the moon has a lot of power. And there is some science to back that up, because our bodies are, 75 or 78% water. And if the moon has pull on the tides, it has pull on us.
Because we're water.
Because we're 75, 78% water.
What do you mean pull on us?
Well, if your body is made of 78% liquid and water, right? And the moon can pull the tides of the earth, which are far greater than your size. It only stands to reason and logic and scientific studies that the moon has some pull on our bodies.
Would a person feel spacey or something at that time of year? Like, how does
They
it
could
affect
feel
them?
spacey. They could not be able to sleep. They could feel like they are not themselves, which is where we get the words lunatic from, because they believe that the moon is pulling on their brains, and they've now gone stark raving mad. So,
Wow. Never even thought of that.
yes, there are many what we call coincidences and interesting things that happen like that along the way.
Do you get a lot of people that want to sign up for, what do you call it, a religion, a faith? What is it?
We actually don't get a whole lot of people to sign up, because they realize that, one, it's not fluffy bunny. It is honest, serious work that you are doing. While some can say, yes, I want to show up and I want to be high priestess and wear the crown, And then they realize all the paperwork that has to go with it and all the things that they have to organize and the people they have to organize, and then they all magically disappear. So,
Do you wear a crown?
no, I've got big hair, so the crown tends to get lost.
So no crown and no big hat or anything like that?
No. I keep my big hats for when I do all my steampunk stuff.
Okay.
Ooh, steampunk.
There you go.
I'm steampunk too.
Yes, I know.
Is it women and men that are in your, what is it, a coven? What is it?
I have a shrine.
Shrine, okay.
Yes. There, at this point in time, we are accepting only a few members, women, men, and for any group within our whole tradition, there are men, there are women. We have honorary familiars, so we include your pets because they are a part of your family unit, so we have everyone.
Is there any rules about children?
Yes.
Could you explain?
Any child under the age of, I would say 18. It's probably a little lower than that, but I'm paranoid. Anyone who is not above the age of reason must have parental permission in writing on file with the shrine or temple at the local site and in the head office in Danville, Illinois. We are very protective of our young.
Where's your head office?
That would be the Corral Mother Temple in Danville, Illinois.
Never heard of it before. That's neat.
We hide in plain sight. We're here.
All right. So can people support you by giving you money, or like how do people support you? Do they just show up at one of your events? Or?
They can support me by donating money at one of my events. A toonie, Canadian Tire money, whatever they can. I am not one of those people who says that you must give X amount of dollars. However, I can't be a priestess in a vacuum.
On your website, do you list we're having a ritual at such and such place, everyone welcome?
At times, yes, there is a Google Calendar that you can subscribe to where it shows all the events that we have. At this point in time, since we are a very young shrine, we haven't right now a permanent place because, let's face it, buildings are very expensive, rent is very expensive, and hey, if I can't afford $4 to buy candles, how can I book a room or a building?
Exactly. This is fascinating. We're going to go to a commercial and song, and then we'll continue on.
Thank you.
Fascinating stuff.
Thank you. Oh my God! I've been turned into a vampire. Will I be hunted down? Will I become a mass serial killer?
Oh please, vampires don't suck blood anymore. Since the East met the West, vampires suck chi, or living energy. I should mention the mind chips and the vampire taxes, I suppose.
Taxes? No!
Let's all help by donating our spare chains to J.F. Garrard's Kickstarter campaign for The Undead Sorceress, a multicultural fantasy book. Find out more details at jfgarrard.com/Kickstarter. That's jfgarrard.com/Kickstarter. Hurry, campaign ends November 26th. This multicultural fantasy book is coming out in April 2014 to Amazon and other fine retailers.
I like to dream it, yeah.
welcome back to Beyond the Mundane with Elsie Lynn Leyland and Randy St. Clair. You can get a hold of us by telephone in the GTA at 905-725-1907, in North America at 1-866-905-7325, and worldwide at 1-866-656-5477, or by email at realityradio101@yahoo.com. Back to Beyond the Mundane with Elsie Lynn Leyland and Randy St. Clair.
This is Randy St. Clair.
And Elsie Lynn Leyland. I'm back again.
We're back with Terrie, who's the keeper at a Carillion shrine. Now, folks, be very careful if you go out into the woods alone. You might happen upon figures in cloaks in a circle having a ritual. But you don't really have to be afraid because they take their ritualness very seriously. Tell us more about that, Terrie.
Well, we do take our rituals very seriously. And if you are going to stumble upon us, we do ask that you respect what we're doing. And if you are curious, please come closer. We don't bite. Honest. We'd be more than happy to explain what was going on, probably after the ritual. And of course, there are other things that we ask that you don't do, which is try not to be disruptive. If you have to leave because things happen, we're all human, just step out, step back in again. If you have an unruly child or an unruly dog or a parrot that talks a lot, just sort of, take them off to the side until they calm down and then come back again. But we do take what we do very seriously because it is about our personal connection with the divine and with deity, and we want everyone else to have that connection as well.
That's neat. I feel comfortable now that if I did come across a circle somewhere, that I would be welcomed in, and it sounds to me as if everybody be willing to share a lot with the public if we were just open enough to ask the right questions. Like, just ask questions instead of assume.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Carillions, for sure, you would be welcome. However, once again, I would have to put the caveat out there of just watch their body language, because there should be someone there watching, making sure that people are safe. Because, let's just say, things happen, we've got our eyes closed, we're all in circle, a tree could fall on us. Who knows? So there's someone on the outside looking out for us. So, sure, come up, approach. We just ask that you respect what we're doing, because if we show up at your job and we stand over your shoulder, you don't want us to make loud noises and, eat popcorn and throw stuff at it. It's just not worth it. So,
yeah. So you carry, when you're in your ritual garb,
mm-hmm.
you have a sash on your shoulders.
Yeah, my purple stole, yes.
So you have a purple stole, and on that stole you have badges.
Yes.
Now, there's one badge that I noticed that represents Canadian Carillion.
Yes, it is the Canadian Carillion sigil, which is a beautiful red maple leaf with the Carillium, the Carillion nativist tradition symbol, right in the middle of it.
And what are the parts of the Carillium?
The Carillium is the original symbol that we have.
Can you explain those?
I can in great detail, but not a lot of it's going to make sense to you. It's the symbols that we use for our tradition. We've got the water on the side, the water on the bottom, and the other symbols as well. So
just so if somebody was walking by and saw this, what would it look like? It's squiggly lines on the bottom,
mm-hmm.
In a circle.
Well, it looks like a plus sign
inside a maple leaf.
No, for the Canadian, yes.
Okay.
For the Canadian Carillion court, you've got the maple leaf really big.
Right.
And then in the middle of the maple leaf, you've got the circle.
Mm-hmm.
In the circle, you've got blue squiggly lines at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The plus sign in the middle. And then you've got the bits at the top there.
The two little bits on the top.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody's walking around and sees this really bright, vibrant colored badge on a sash, is it always purple, or is it just that yours is purple?
Mine is purple because that denotes that I am clergy status.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that have green ones. Green designates that they are out of court, which means they have taken all of the classes, but they have chosen not to minister to others, which is perfectly acceptable. And then there's a whole system of garb as well. So I have my basic black robe, my purple stole, and I've got a white cord that has knots in it.
Right.
That denotes that I am first degree, and I've got my patches on it. And on my stole, I have the patch for the Corel Mother Temple, which is where I belong. The patch for the Temple of the Dancers of Shakti, which is another temple that I belong to. And then on top of that, I've got the patch for the Sacred Songwatan Shrine.
That's your patch, officially.
That's mine. Yes. So that's where I belong. And that's all on the left side. That's where I belong. On the right side are the things that I've worked for, which is my first degree. It's very lonely down there. It's only one, but I worked hard for it, so I can wear that one.
Okay, so
this,
I want...
this is all so complicated. Why would a person want to be a Corellian?
There's a very big and complicated answer and a very simple one.
Give me simple. This is complicated already with all the sash and the thing on the left and the thing on the right and stand up, sit down, fight, all that stuff.
When you're a Corellian, you are accepted into the family, regardless of where you've been, where you're going, and where you are right now. They don't discriminate on any level whatsoever. So even if you decide that you never want to take any of the classes, but you want to join, that's perfectly fine. Yes, that's perfectly fine. There are no fees involved. All you do is email the application in to the Crown Mother Temple. You will get a shiny OC number, and you are welcome in the Corellian family.
Wow, that's easy.
It is pretty easy. You know, we do ask that you sort of align your own spiritual goals to what we're doing, which is education and understanding that everyone can have a connection to the divine.
Is it an earth-based spirituality with a little bit of magic thrown in and rituals, and how would you characterize it?
It is an earth-based spirituality for sure, but there's more than just a little of everything else put in. In my training and in the training for all clergy, and even those who are not clergy, you learn the baseline of not just what we are teaching, not just what Lady Caroline learned and taught her people. You're learning all the other traditions out there, the book religions, why they do the things they do, how energy works, what's going on with Chinese medicine, how that works, because to understand yourself, you have to look at the rest of the world.
This sounds like it's a lot of secret knowledge that people might want to know that's been lost.
It's possible. There's a lot of things that I've learned that you could find in the right books if you chose to.
Wow.
So I just wanted to throw out your Facebook and website, because we've talked about stuff that people are going to want to look at.
Yes, ma'am.
So your Facebook is www.facebook.com/The Sacred Song Shrine, all run together. And your website is www.thesacredsong.com. And you can find all the links and email and all that for everything else that you need to know through those two sites. And if you want to look at that while we're talking, go ahead. But keep tuned to us.
And you can tweet me at Sacred Song on Twitter.
Oh, cool.
Who would want to be a Corellian priestess or one of your followers? Who would want to do that?
Someone who is looking for acceptance in anything that they want to do. My goal as a priestess is to help anyone else who wants find their own spiritual path, whatever connection that may be. If they want to, join Corellian and they say, you know what, I want to be a Buddhist, I will find some temples, we'll shave your head, perfectly fine. We'll help you do this.
What cross-section of people do you have? Is it mostly women, a few men? Is it people that make lots of money, people that don't make lots of money? Like,
Yes. We have everyone from all walks of life, all ages. There's some who are in their 60s and 70s who are just starting at first degree. There's some who have been with us since they were able to get that parental guidance shit signed off and mailed in. 10, 15 years. So we have everyone. Everyone.
Considering the founder was of Native background, would you say that the tradition is positive for those of color?
Oh, they are not only positive, they are pretty much blind. They are completely blind. They don't see anyone in any way, shape, or form other than that you're human, you're worthy to be loved, and the gods love you. Skin color means nothing for them. I was telling them some of my horror stories of when I came out of the broom closet, and they all looked at me like I had grown another head. The best one is I was working locally at a bookstore. I had my little pin on that says I'm working in the New Age, and this woman comes up to me. She's a sweet old lady. She looks right at me and she says, "Are you a black witch or a white witch?" Now, being of African American descent, it's pretty hard to answer that because there's the obvious answer, and then there's the answer that I should give, and then it was very hard to to sort of blink and understand exactly what she was asking. So yes, I had to say, well, technically, yes, ma'am, I am a white witch. She says, "Oh, that's lovely," and I helped her buy her books, and off she went. So yeah.
What does it mean to be a white witch? Who cares?
Well, it's very interesting that you would say that, because in the normal, well, I would say normal, don't say normal, the current state of group mind, being a white witch means that you work towards the greater good. You work on the side of light, only helping people, not doing any harm to anyone, etc., etc. And then a black witch would be someone who is on either what they call the left-hand path. They'll work curses and hexes and all those type of things for them. And yeah, that's not my bag because it's a lot of work and my karma just can't handle it. And whatever you send out, be it a curse or a love spell or whatever, in the laws that we work in spiritually, that energy comes back to you. And it's just not worth it. So anyone who comes to me for a love spell gets thrown out on their keister. Not happening.
So is it true that when you send out energy, positive or negative, with an intention, it'll come back to you 3 times stronger?
3 times, 10 times, sometimes 10 times 10 times 10, sometimes 3 times 3 times 3.
So we really have to be mindful of all of our intentions at all times.
Yes, we do. And not just in ritual, not just in, making a spell, not just in some sort of greater magic working. You have to be mindful of what you send out.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
On your website, you had some, looked like altars to me or something like that. Are they altars on your website?
Yes, there are altars on my website.
There are, so it looks like some pretty basic ones and some that are pretty skookum. Can you explain what is on altars? Because there's colorful stuff, kind of neat looking stuff. What is on altars and why would you have them on an altar?
Okay, the simple answer or the complicated one?
What is on an altar, from the simple to more elaborate, and why would a person even have an altar? What's the benefit?
Okay, what is on an altar, from the simple to the elaborate? The altar is there as a key. Basically, it sends out a signal to your subconscious saying, we're here, we're ready to work. It's just the same as you putting on your coat, putting on your shoes, you get in the car, you drive to work. That's what the altar is for. It says we're here to start magic working. You would have on the altar, possibly, if you chose, a symbol of your deity. Some choose a god, some choose a goddess, some choose a god and goddess, some choose every goddess or god they can find. Every spirit, animal, totem, something that means something to them can go on the altar.
The altar only comes out when they're going to do magic, or does the altar sit there the whole time?
Some can
24/7.
Some have permanent altars in their home. There are businesses that have permanent shrines in their entryways. It's all up to the user at that point.
Is there elemental stuff on there? Is there food? What's on the altar?
Elemental stuff can go on the altar as well. Once again, as symbols that we are creating the cosmos. So for air, someone could have a feather or incense. For the south, there could be fire, matches, well, a butane torch for me because I work like that.
Butane torch?
I like fire. It's okay. Fire's nice. So you could have some element of fire, some element of passion, or you could just have colors there. So for the air, you could have yellow. For the south, you could have red. For the west, you could have water or something that's green or blue. And for the north, you could have something that's earthy, like a potted plant, et cetera, or something that's black or green.
What would represent passion? I find that interesting.
Passion? Well, there are a lot of things that represent passion. You're looking at roses, right fire. They've got these little fire pots now that you can get at Clean Earth. Oh my goodness, they're fantastic, and they have crackle and everything. Sorry, I like fire. Fire, roses,
chocolate?
Yes, I will take chocolate. The gods are okay with that. Chocolate, things that are rich in taste.
Candy.
Yes. Red candy works just fine. Red candles and things like that.
Do you have to have a balance on an altar, like, of all the elements, or can you just put one great big thing?
It's completely up to the user and whatever work you're doing. So if whatever your work for that particular ritual is, if that's the only thing you want to focus on, go right ahead. There are some caveats, so it depends on what you're doing.
Is there a book of rituals somebody can find somewhere?
There are thousands of books of rituals.
Which one would you recommend?
Thousands of books of rituals.
So you don't have 2 or 3 that you find really good?
No, because in my teachings, in my learnings, and in my experience, you go out, you look at a few books, you understand the structure, you understand why they do the things that they do, and then you go out and write them yourself. Yes, this is hard work. You don't just copy and paste, you write it yourself.
So it's kind of like doing research, I think you're saying.
You do research, but you write your own paper.
So you do the book work, and then you do the hands-on stuff, and figure out what works for you.
Yes.
That's your research.
That's your research.
And then do you pass this on to other people, and they can take your research, and then they do their own research? Is that how it, does it evolve? Is that how it works?
It can evolve if the person chooses to share their work. Some choose not to. Some have posts up every day of every ritual that they've ever done online.
Where would they find this?
You go to Google and you type in ritual, pagan ritual. And
pagan ritual. So your faith or your following is pagan type of ritual.
It can be pagan, Wiccan, Celtic, Druidic, you name it.
Mixed bag.
I learned it all. As part of my studies, I learn everything so that I can make more informed choices. And then when I meet those people who are part of that other group, I can show them respect by knowing what they're doing. And if it's something that's really important, not interrupting because I know better. And basically appreciating what they do, even if it's not my path.
Do you do a lot of noise when you do your rituals?
Sometimes.
Like what?
Drumming and singing, and there's some rituals with kids where there's lots of dancing and shaking and yelling. It can be lots of fun.
Is it like, do you just feel like it, or is there a certain mix that you like to do all the time?
There are certain mixes that I like to do, and of course we use the instruments as part of the ceremony and as part of the ritual. So, if it's going to be something that's very centered on passion, emotion, there could be drumming. And there could be lots of very simple chanting and singing and noisemakers. And at the end, there's what we call the sacred woo.
Sacred woo?
The sacred woo, yes. My awesome friends at the Dancing Lights Grove, ADF, they introduced me to the sacred woo, where at the end of the ritual, you have the sacred woo where you're releasing a lot of the tension, and you give a big scream and you hug, and it's all lots of fun. And then we eat.
So people like to go to your events to get wooed?
Possibly.
I'd like to touch on 2 more things.
Yes, ma'am.
The first thing is, can you marry and bury people?
I can bury people.
Mm-hmm.
I can only handfast people. And the reasoning for that is, at this point in time, the Karelian nativist tradition is not recognized by the Canada Revenue. I'm currently working on about 6 feet of paperwork to trying to get that on the ball there, so I can present it to the elders in my tradition, so that the Karelian Nativist tradition can be recognized, so that we can marry people.
So basically, if someone wanted to get married and be hand-fasted, they would go to like City Hall and do their legalese with City Hall, take care of that, and then you could do the hand-fasting ceremony for their marriage.
Full out, jump the broom, wrap the cords, singing, dancing.
Cool.
It's lots of fun.
Awesome. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on was you mentioned that your shrine has no permanent location. So does this mean that you can bring the temple to the people?
I can facilitate ritual for those who ask for it and need it. Of course, I am not making a living at being a priestess yet, so I do have a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have to revolve around that. If people need me to drive to Kingston, I will drive to Kingston, as long as they, help me out with the gas and the materials and things like that. But I can facilitate ritual for others.
Oh, that's awesome. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to have ritual for certain events in their lives.
Do you think so? Really?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I really do. I know a lot of people that say that they're not certain who they are, but they really slant towards the pagan traditions.
Right.
But they still want something that's more earthy, like it feels like their feet are
Mhm.
planted on the earth.
Mhm.
And it sounds like Karelian is very planted.
Yes.
And really knows where they're coming from. So I think a lot of people would be wondering where they could get in touch with somebody that, has some history there with being able to do this stuff.
Yeah, we do rites of passage. So, coming of age for boys and girls, hand partings, when couples decide that they no longer want to be together and they want to do it amicably and spiritually. We can do that as well. Hand fastings, burials, adoption. There are so many things that we can do.
Like name day as well.
Wickenings, baptisms, whatever you want to call them.
Uh-huh.
Wickenings?
Do you have any... Oh, sorry. I won't interrupt.
Wickenings?
Yeah, what's a wickening?
Wickening is close to a baptism in the Christian faith, but when in the wickening, we don't just dedicate the child to the deity. We ask deity to look after the child, as well as all the spirits of all the families and ancestors, until the child can make their own decision.
Cool.
Awesome.
It's all about empowerment.
Right.
I was going to ask you something else. Now I forgot.
Now,
Okay.
if somebody, I'm fascinated by this broom ritual thing. So if somebody wanted to keep the broom after the ceremony, could they keep the broom?
They've paid for it, sure. I don't actually have brooms, not to give away, but I know a broom maker. I know a besom maker, so
Wow.
besoms can be made for specific purposes.
What does one run about cost-wise?
You're looking maybe $120, $150, depending on what you need. And they take some time to make because they are made in a very specific order. Reeds are gathered under a certain moon. You have to have a certain, yes, it's very, very.
Wow. But that would be something that a person would like to have and keep, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
After a special ceremony. That's neat that they could do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very awesome. And I know someone who makes the cords as well. So the whole package is you get your broom, you get your cord. I facilitate the ritual for you. In the ceremony, we wrap the cords around the hands. At the end, you jump the broom, and then it's all about the feast.
Wow, that's
Ooh,
something I'd like
feast.
to go to. Watching them jump the broom and that sort of thing. That'd be cool.
It is pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. I'm trying not to get into more arguments with people who keep telling me that, well, only the African Americans and the slave jumps the broom. No, they didn't. We got it from the Celts who owned the slaves and taught us that. We got it from the Celtics. Yeah, it's a twitchy argument.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. It's been very enlightening for sure.
Very.
Thank
My
you
pleasure.
for the time.
It's
Yeah.
been wonderful. The hour went by so fast.
Oh my goodness, it has.
I could ask you a million more questions.
Well, you can always have me back on. I'll be more than happy to wax poetic about all sorts of things.
Sounds good for
if,
sure.
If you give me enough time.
Yeah.
But next time you have to bring Prowlings.
Oh, okay.
She makes praline.
Don't tell everybody.
I have to.
No,
I'm
you
addicted to them.
Can't tell.
So tell people about her website again so that we can...
Okay, so it's www.thesacredsong.com, and you can find her on Facebook at www.facebook.com/thesacredsong and on Twitter
At Sacred Song.
at Sacred Song. Thank you very much, Terrie.
Thank you so much.
This has certainly been off the wall. I don't know what you think, but I think this has been off the wall. It's been a great show.
I'm feeling very enlightened.
I'm feeling very magical.
Is it time for feast yet? Can we feast now?
Sure.
Feast.
Let's go for
Have
it.
some licorice.
Yeah.
Feast time! Yay! Feast time!
You've been listening to Beyond the Mundane with Elsie Lynn Leyland and Randy Sinclair. Stay tuned for the best pop and rock music of all time on Reality Radio 101.
We were at the beach. Everybody had matching towels. Somebody